lest we forget, Malaysia. No durians in the hostel, please. Okay, don't bring them in. Don't open them up. Um, because they stink like vomit, supposedly, right?
Nah, they smell good like cheese, as far as I've heard.
Oh,
Yeah, it's more like onions.
interesting. Well,
Uh,
I remember
yeah, it's
Kobe.
not that bad. It's not that. It's not what you see on YouTube and people like throwing it. They're probably from America or something. So it's not.
Well, I remember Kobe had a durian like Jaffa cake on his stream not so long ago, um, and he was like obsessively sniffing it to try and see if it smelt weird, but it didn't. So there you go.
I kind of like it, right? It's like it's the same with Vegemite that some people try to eat and they throw up or stuff. It's like they're overdoing for some reason. It's like yeah, definitely not that bad. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Or
mayonnaise
they are really
is.
such pussies.
Yeah, I think it's from the mayonnaise's spicy crowd, probably. Um, right, who wants to take us through melee?
I can do this. Yeah.
All right, take it away, Ed.
Okay, so it's I think this is probably like the hardest ones to differentiate is this four from Malaysia and Indonesia. There's lots of similarities. Start with the language. The languages are fairly similar. There's not much words you can tell them apart, and they both ride on the same side of the road, so it's quite hard. Um, Another thing is the license plates. They also have white and black. The small difference here is like they have just a single black line in the middle separating two groups of letters and numbers, whereas Indonesia has three groups. So sometimes you can see through the blur, but still quite challenging. I have here some signs and road names, road signs. In Malaysia, they usually have like a combination of blue and yellow, both on text and on some symbols. This little logo, little shield for the highways, it's very unique to Malaysia. So usually have like either a number or a letter and a combination of number there. And if you have a combination of letters and numbers, you can check this map down here, and you can get some insights on which state you're in. Some of them they start with the same letter as the state, like J stands for Johor, but some of them are kind of random. Um, there's also lots of palm trees, especially in Borneo. Indonesia also produces lots of palm oil, but I've seen more palm trees in Malaysia, apparently, at least near Google coverage. The road lines, they they are mostly white, I believe. Unlike Indonesia, in which you can see both white and yellow, I think Malaysia it tends to be more white. So it's something that will not help you so much to differentiate them apart if you get white. Whereas if you get yellow, you can probably tend towards Indonesia. Regarding meta, it's quite useful because Gen 4 was, at least at this moment, was only done in peninsular Malaysia and not in Borneo. That's quite useful if you're lucky and you get Gen 4. The cars are quite messy, just like Indonesia. You have a combination of black and white, and one's more blurred than others. Um, I don't think anyone figured out if you can rule out regions based on the color of the car. And finally, we have those poles. The poles have some black stuff, like a black paint on them, and Indonesia usually don't have those.
Cool. I think.
Yeah,
What's with the Butterworth on the sign?
That's
Doesn't
the
seem.
city.
It's a. I did.
That's a town name. It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
It's just an interesting name for a place.
I think it's the next town to Georgetown. That's
Yeah.
the main the port of the British where they resided in Malaysia, Georgetown and Butterworth.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. We've got some locations. Are we ready to move on to those?
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. So I think I speak for everyone. I say everyone's favorite type of oil is the palm variety, and this is an example of a palm oil plantation. Is it?
I'd
Yeah,
say
you
so.
see these all over Malaysia. Malaysia palm oils are found in Borneo, so you can see them both in Indonesian Borneo and Malaysian Borneo. But and then they're also found in the peninsula part of Malaysia, a little bit in Thailand, in like the southern part of Thailand, and then you also see them in Sumatra. So that kind of helps narrow down because these are very recognizable trees. They're so low to the ground,
Yeah,
like
they
these
are.
palms, very very wide, very
Ano-
round.
Another example just here. Um,
And they're very thick and chunky. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, thick ass trees.
But the most coverage in between those palm oil plantations does have Malaysia, I have to say. Unfortunately.
Cool. Yeah, so these are what the kind of plantations look like. Yeah, everyone loves palm oil. Good stuff. Keep using it, and forget about those pesky orangutans who keep getting in the way. Right, we've got
I know, Ben, you're always one of the first persons that only buys stuff with palm oil
yeah,
in it.
I am. Yeah, I look for it on the ingredients list. If it hasn't got palm oil in, get it the fuck out of my face. So we've got a petrol station here, Petronas brand. Well, there's also this is back-to-back petrol stations.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Petronas is the Malaysian petrol brand. I think everyone knows that from the Kuala Lumpur, from the capital Petronas Towers.
Mm.
But that's the logo of Petronas, and those petrol stations you will only find in Malaysia.
Yeah, cool, and quite unique. Obviously, the teal kind of color. I think that's the right color.
Turquoise, maybe. Yeah.
And you can pick up a refreshing glass of palm oil while you're stopping off to get some petrol as well. Right. So we've got another location here. So got some real altitude going on here.
Yeah.
Pointy mountains. Yeah, this is quite different to what we've seen so far.
yeah. This is the far eastern part of Sarawak. So this is like, or yeah, the far eastern part of Borneo. It's like Sarawak area. It's like very mountainous over here. There are some mountains in the peninsular part of Malaysia, but I would say the tallest mountains are over here. So if you see like really big mountains, probably go over here. And then obviously the all of Borneo part of Malaysia is Gen 3, so it has to be Gen 3 if it's on this side.
Yeah, and it's pretty rugged there. Not rolling hills or mountains, but pointy and rugged mountains in the far northeast of Malaysia.
Yeah, they're not fucking about with these mountains whatsoever. As you can see on the map, far northeast.
Yeah. Sabah State.
Yeah. Cool. Another location covered. We've got some road signs and some poles on this one. And immediately, obviously, I'm noticing exactly what you're pointing out in the earlier slides. Obviously, we've got the pole with the kind of like black square with the white writing on it, which is pointed out. And then we've got a real classic example of the signs that we're also looking at. So we've got the blue background, that kind of shield. I can't think of the shape. The yellow there as well, just like we pointed out. So yeah,
Also on both signs you have those poles that are black and white.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
That's typical Malaysian. So if you see Malaysian or Indonesian language, both are pretty similar. But you see signs that are standing on those black and white poles, they are definitely Malaysian.
Okay, interesting. Interesting tidbit. Oh, and here we go again, just to really hammer the point home. Another sign, black and white pole.
Yeah.
There you go.
And this road is better, right? Because this road gives you the state.
Yeah, with
the road we are in is the 64, so it's probably a little bit harder to find this on the map. But the intersection is with C something. So you don't need to know them all, but you can zoom fast on the map and find the region, the state, which has those C highways, or quite useful.
There you go. So we've got not a location here, but we're going to look at a couple of different flags. So we've got two important flags to see if you're in the Borneo part of Malaysia, because Malaysia loves their regional flags. Again, dragging over the wrong tab. So here's flag number 1. So if I'm reading the link correctly, this is the flag of Sarawak.
That's the southwestern part of Borneo.
Okay.
Of Malaysian Borneo. If you're lucky and got into an urban area, the flags will be almost anywhere in the city. Also, a street view example of that is included.
Yep, we've got an example here. Let me just load it up. Here we go.
No, that's the wrong one.
No, that's the wrong. Wait, let me just try that again. That's location linked with it on the document. But I think we've just got back to front. So there we go. There's the example of the flag in situ. Yeah, I'm in 3 straight off the bat there. Yeah, which is interesting. We've got a Petronas.
Also, another thing for Malaysia, not only the Petronas petrol station, but on shops, very prevalent are Chinese writing. You can see that very often in Malaysia.
It's definitely more common than Indonesia, which also has, but yeah, Malaysia is something in between Singapore. It's almost close to Singapore on the amount of Chinese and Arabic sometimes as well, right? Depending on the region.
Blimey. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this is obviously on the road sign here as well, which is interesting to show. And then we've also got
one other thing. One other thing I wanted to mention was on that sign, the blue sign, it says JLN. In Indonesia, it says JL for Jalan, and then in Malaysia, it says JLN. So that can be used to differentiate them.
Okay, cool. Got another example of flag. Yeah, so just we got the locations slightly mixed around with the flags, but here is the flag of Sabah, which quite not a lie, quite a big difference to the last flag, really. There's no chance of getting those two mixed up. We've kind of got, I guess this is an example of like a mountain or something.
Yeah, because the highest mountain in Malaysia is in the Sabah province, far in northeastern Borneo. So probably because of that, they put the mountain in the flag.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, makes sense. And then obviously an example of this in situ. There we go. Bang, being flown from that restaurant. Quite. Sometimes you get really detailed road signs, such as this, which can really help narrow down where you are. Plenty of information to go off of there. It's quite a strange sight, really. Oh yeah, look, here's a perfect example. So this is the Arabic, right?
There's even Arabic, yeah.
And there's a Chinese lettering, and then, well, I guess it's normal English script, and then I'm even
Ice paradise.
eyes. I mean these. I mean, if I had to wear glasses, mate, I would be wearing these. I would be going to the optical shop.
And the currency as well. Currency is useful here. In this case, we can see the RM3, RM5, RM7. Indonesia uses RP. So yeah, sometimes you can use currency to differentiate between those two.
I'll tell you one thing I've noticed, maybe a little bit off topic, but an easy way to have something that is always going to fall out of date very soon is to use brand like logos. Because like these are like all the old logos.
Google Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does date it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Follow me on MySpace.
Yeah, add me on Bieber and I'll
Get my number on ICQ.
Oh god. Yeah, interesting, really interesting location, and perfect example of what we were just saying about the different examples of languages being used. And we've got some examples of street signs in Johor, which
I put this example here because Johor sometimes it can look kind of like Singapore. Johor appears to be like a richer place, and then they also have the black and white curbs on the street. But yeah, the street names are very different in Singapore. They say Johor if you're lucky to find one, and they usually have the Arabic on top as well. I think they are unique to the state. So the yellow one. So even if you see from a port, they are mostly blue and with yellow text. And in Johor they are on this pattern, black
And
on
one
yellow.
final notice. No, sorry. Just mixed up something. Doesn't matter.
Okay, that's cool. Right. Well, I think that's it for Malaysia. Yeah, fascinating place. Obviously, we know a lot of fans out there of Malaysia, Granis being one of them. Yeah, I mean, it's a country I always struggle with. I'm not gonna lie, it's something I just don't rarely get. But actually, I think some of the signs, the polls, that kind of stuff, I think is definitely given me something to work with there. And the introduction of Arabic, stuff like that, usually where that might throw me off. I guess I've got some points to work with there. So actually, really bloody helpful. Cool.
I'm shortly AFK.
No worries. Escaping your duties to read out Thailand. That's fine. Joking.